Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to P2P Relates, where we talk about all things relationships. I'm Pat Renfro, and today we're going to talk about grief management. I guess you would say it's a continuation from last week. So I hope you'll stay tuned. If you have things in your life that you're trying to manage because you're disappointed and because you've had a loss, this might just be a good tool for you today. I heard today from a gentleman by the name of Donahue. He was doing a thought for the day, and he talked about love and how important it is to be open to love. And in order to preserve joy, we also have to be willing to embrace sorrow or sadness. And many times we cut ourselves off, he continues to talk about, from love or opening up and being vulnerable because we want to protect ourselves from hurt. But when you're willing to embrace the pain, you can also experience the joy. So that was the thought for the day that I listened to this morning, and I thought how apropos, because I knew that I would be talking about managing grief today. And I thought, wow, when you can really figure out how to take the joy and the sadness as a package, they're a part of the same product technically. And you can find ways to rejoice in the midst of sorrow. Wow, what a difference your path is going to make. Last week, we talked about the power of support and how if you build up a great support system and you have a great community of support in your life, you can get through just about anything. That my husband did pass, and I'll miss my baby. I will miss him. Yes, we had quite a journey and it was challenging. It was not all roses, but we learned how to truly love each other and give it all we had. And that's what we did all the way to the very end. On the second day or the first night after it happened last Thursday, and I said, oh my goodness, I am a widow. Of course, I went through my grieving period and I was extremely sad. And then on the third day, y'all, what can I say? I woke up and I just felt a breakthrough. I felt free. I didn't feel free of him because that's not what I was praying for or wanting. But I felt free of the bondage of grief. Because if we're not careful, grief can overtake us like a shadow going over your house, like the sun setting. And you don't want it or anything else, any emotion to ever so engulf you that you are taken aback and you can't even function. Now I can go into the 4 things that I'd like you to give yourself permission to do. The first one is cry. Men alike as women, it's okay to cry. You're going to have sorrow. You had a loss. You had someone in your life that you truly loved, and you assumed you would be with them to the rest of your life, not just their life, but your life and their life will be intertwined to the very end. And most of us that get married, that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're looking forward to. You're not expecting to lose your spouse, so it's quite an adjustment. And you're going to have memories, and you're going to be sorrowful. And you need to give yourself permission to cry. It's okay to cry. And I've cried probably for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes every night that I went to bed, but it doesn't overtake me. But if I hold it in and I refuse to cry, I'm gonna be strong. I'm not crying. You're gonna cry later. I promise you, you will cry later. Feel. That's number 2. Give yourself the opportunity to feel the pain, to feel what you're feeling, whatever that is, to recognize that this is sorrowful and it's disappointing and it's not what you thought it would be. However, also feel joy because that person who was here sick with dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, pancreatic cancer was painful for my mom, all the other things that this life can offer at times, if they were in misery and they were in mental bondage, you don't want to hold on to them. And we don't recognize how powerful our spirits are. And there are things that you can do that cause that person to delay their exit because they know you are too sad or too full of the pain of releasing them to let them go. And I've heard story after story of people who hung in there longer because their loved one wasn't ready to go. You think about it. Grief is for the persons left behind. The person that's gone on, especially if they know the Lord and they're gone on to be in glory. They're not sad. They're released from this world. This world is no joke. But we do have to embrace our feelings. We have to feel. We don't want to go numb because numb delays the progress of emotions. You know, this channel is all about relationships. And what greater relationship than a loved one, a spouse, a sibling, a dear friend, even a good coworker, somebody that you had a great working relationship with, and they're all of a sudden, poof, gone. And if you can't get in touch with that feeling, it's going to translate in other areas. I've told you that before, that if you have a broken friendship, you're going to show up at work and something's not going to be quite 100. Or you could have a broken friendship and then in your marriage be afraid to completely be yourself in a vulnerable situation because you just went through that with your friend. So when we come through issues, we have to do that, come through issues. We have to work really hard to deal with the situation at hand and be able to address it and then move through and move forward because life is living, right? Number 3. So today I did CFCF. So number 3 is the second C, and that is chill. And I can say that in a lot of ways. Chill means, in my vernacular, to relax. Relax in the grief, for real. But also relax into the next phase of your life. Look around. What needs to be cleared out? What needs to be resolved in your emotions, in your heart? Chill and take the time to actually think about what was grand about that relationship. Do some laughter. Chill when you recognize you're not ready for that. I have to make service arrangements and I wanted to go and get pictures so I could do a slideshow. But on day 4 or 5, I was like, oh no, I'm not ready to look at pictures yet. But today I was able to put together a little album with 150 pictures in there. So chill enough to give yourself the ebbs and flows. The first 2 days, my chill was, thank you for your condolences via text. I'm not taking phone calls. But the 3rd day, I was able to have conversations. Chill also said, but if the conversations ended up being less than productive or helpful, I had to exit the phone call, or I had to bring it to a close, or I had to shift the conversation to another way of looking at things. Chill also protects you. Because you know what? We're not gurus at death. We don't want to say goodbye to our loved ones. We want them here with us. We fell in love with them. We learned to love them. We befriended them. So we want that relationship. And when that relationship ends because of death, it's an awkward thing to manage. And as a result, our friends and family that love us dearly, they're awkward too. Very few people really know what to say when they want you to know how much they cared about that person and how sorry they are of your loss. And so sometimes they go into stories and they do all kind of stuff that is not helpful. But you know what? You have to have the grace as the receiver, as a recipient, to understand that they love you. They just want to help you and comfort you through this difficult time. So you got to chill. You don't want to be judgmental or too harsh or too anxious on yourself or too hard on yourself. One day you can do a thing and another day you can't. One day you can address things and another day not so much. Chill both sides, okay? And then the last F. It's very close to chill, but not quite. Flow. Flow into the next phase of your life. Ask yourself, what now? And don't ask yourself what now in some desperation like your life is over because their life is over. No, your life is still here and you still need to live and you still need to do all that you can do to be who you are. Again, if you've listened to other videos that I've done, I'm always encouraging you to become all that you can be. Figure out what you're here for. We all came here for a purpose, and not all of us pursue that. But we all came here for a purpose, and you want to be able to go and say, what is mine and am I doing it? And so this will be a good time to say, okay, that's one less relationship in my life and a one less significant relationship if it was your spouse or your best friend or your sibling that you spend a lot of time with. And so this is a time for you to say, okay, what should I be doing? I'm going to cry. I'm going to feel. I'm going to chill. And I'm going to flow. But as I do that, I need to also do it in a way that says, where am I headed? How can I cry when I need to cry so I can stop crying, so I can feel what I'm feeling? But also, you know what, you all, as I have gone through just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, about 7 days. I've gone through 7 days of loss. And as those days progress, I'm doing remarkably well. I am so grateful. And when I look at my relationship, like I said, we had challenges. Oh, yeah. But it got sweeter and sweeter and sweeter as our time went forward. And even our last few days were precious. And what I choose to do is reflect on the gifts of our relationship. And not the negative things or the challenging things, but the things that were gifts from God to us. Love is a gift, and grace is a gift. When you're able to give each other grace because they're less than perfect and you're less than perfect, and you can forgive and you can move forward and you can find out what makes them be the best they can be, and you all can experience that, it's a gift. And when you look back on funny times, on dear times, on precious times, it's a gift. So look for those things when you're grieving. Look for the good memories. Look for all the reasons that you stayed in this relationship. Look for the experiences that you wouldn't have had without that particular unique individual. Look at how things turned out and how they could have been worse. Because there's always a silver lining. There's always something that could have been worse, that could have gone wrong. But there were lots of things that went very well in this situation. Even though I had other hopes and I was believing that he would live and not die, I'm okay now. I've gotten a lot of peace. God has given me a lot of peace. And you have to find peace the best way you can. But you don't want whatever way you're finding it to be a destructive way, a way where you repress and suppress or close up because you don't want to be hurt anymore. Or you don't want to feel the hurt, or you don't want to cry. All those things will be damaging, I promise you. I'm always promising you something. But anyway, thanks for listening. Again, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the bell so that you can get notifications when I upload, which is every Friday. And then hopefully by now you've already given me a like, and I always encourage comments. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you next Friday. Bye.